So I'd be willing to bet that there's a ton of other companies like yours across the country, across the world that are also playing the content game, but it doesn't seem to be working for them. They're not able to drive the traffic, right? So at the end of the day, like if you're not driving traffic to those pages, it doesn't really work. So what have you been doing to be able to drive people to the site?
Yeah. So I don't know the right way to word this, but I feel like a lot of us, we create content, or we do the work uh, that needs to be done in order to drive people to our website. So what would be the work? It would be doing live videos. It would be posting pictures. It would be sharing your articles. It would be using your website to sell. So if somebody's asking for, what is the best type of lighting, and they're a prospect, a new person coming, client potentially, you're sharing that website with them. You're posting your website all over the place, articles that you've written. You're doing email campaigns. You're just constantly generating, and eventually it's not something that's going to happen overnight, but you can do all of those things. And this is my opinion now. You can do all of those things, but if you don't do them with the right intention or the right motivation, or if you're not putting the right amount of effort into them, you're just checking a box off, right? Post it on social media.
What's the right? So what's the right intention then? What's the right motivation?
So if you're just trying to check a box, like, hey, I posted on social media today, what are you going to post? You're just going to post something, right?
Yeah.
Who cares what it is? You're just going to be like, I just checked that box. If your intention is, like for us, we change our clients' lives by changing the way they live outside. That's our goal. So if I'm posting something, how do I make sure that our client knows that that's what our mission is without actually telling them? What's our intent behind our content? What's the intent behind our teaching?
The way I describe that, I don't know if you've ever heard me say this, Tim, but is, would you engage with your own content? Right. So if your content isn't something that you personally would go and engage with, then you're probably not putting in the effort that's necessary to put it out there. Because there are a lot of people that are like, oh, post a ton of content in a day. I'm like, well, I mean, that's not necessarily that difficult, but is there meaning behind that? And would you engage with 100 pieces of that content a day? And I think oftentimes it becomes a quantity play rather than a quality. And I think that needs to be reversed. And it sounds like you do too. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Tim?
Yeah, I'm curious so you pay a lot of attention to content, making sure you're posting the right stuff, you have the right mix. In terms of like a metrics kind of point of view, what numbers do you pay attention to the most, and how do you adjust according to those numbers?
So from a social media standpoint, what numbers are we paying attention to, or just as a company?
Or social media, web traffic, just whatever you're doing from an outbound marketing standpoint.
I would say the number one thing that we're tracking is when somebody comes into our website, how long do they stay there? Where do they go on the website? What's interesting? So like, what search terms are they using to get into our website? How long are they staying there? And then where did they end up? And what site or what page are they actually leaving on? We're not so much looking at our bounce rate, because we do have a high bounce rate. We're not always looking at that. We're just trying to figure out, like, where are they going while they're on the site, and why are they staying on that page? And then, HubSpot has this really cool thing where if they've actually filled a contact form, now every single page that they've looked at and everywhere they've been on the page. So now like, oh, they spent a lot of time looking at this one that had hot tubs, and they also spent a lot of time looking at outdoor lighting. So by the way, Miss Jones, were you interested in doing outdoor lighting?
Where did you learn these skills?
That was my question.
Marcus talks a lot about it in his book, and then it's just one of those things where you have to start, and then.
So you do it. You don't hire an outside firm to do it?
No, I have help. I definitely have help. I generally generate all the pictures. I have my team. They do live videos as well, and they share pictures with me. But I do a lot of the actual, like, almost everything that's posted is actually me. Almost everything you've seen written on our website is actually me.
Do you train your staff on how to? Do you train your staff on how to take those pictures the right way? I mean, does it really matter in those things? Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah,
because you're an anomaly in the sense of all. I mean, I'm sure that you have to be maybe 1% of the people in your industry that's doing what you're doing. And of the 70s, your episode 70 that we've had on, and maybe one or two others pay attention to those
the
types of
content game
things.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And for the most part, I would think that most of those businesses have done decent for themselves as well, right?
100%.
I mean, it's not like it's not like they're slugs. It's just some do better than others. So it's interesting. How important do you think like from a pitcher perspective, because I do think that pitchers do matter, and having something like this is a lot easier to take a picture than before. But how important, I mean, what you're taking a picture of in general, like people are looking for something like that from a social perspective. Like, how do you get those people to engage on mulch, on a stone? Like, what are you doing to pull people? I mean, because Gavin,
I think it's a great question.
Throw up some images so we can find it, or I'll go look at a link or something. But like, what are you doing to get people excited about mulch? Because last time I checked, mulch isn't that exciting and it's dead.
So, I mean,
do you not agree with that? I mean, mulch is dead, right? I mean, come on, man. Like, don't ghost me for a third time today. I'm messing.
No response. But we're not selling mulch, right? We're not selling boulders. We're not selling pavers. We're not selling even lights. We're selling a place that people can live outside. We're selling a place where people can enjoy the outdoors. We're selling a place where you can smoke a cigar and drink a bourbon with your friend. We're selling a place where you can watch your kids on their Strider bike for the first time crash into your wall. We're creating a place where experiences happen.
Yeah, that was the word I was looking for, experiences. I was waiting for you to say it. Yeah, I mean, that's it. You're creating an at-home experience for people, and that's powerful.
Yeah. That's why.
What's the number one thing that people are searching for on a day where it's 95 degrees like it is today, heat index of 110, and it's like last thing people want to do is go outdoors, so how do you offset that? Is it, because I don't think like a misting station or something like that where they have in a low humidity place is going to really do anything for you. So what do you?
Yeah. When is Water Country
personally
open?
Interested.
When does Water Country close? When does Water Country open? Is Apollo's Chariot open?
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know that we're necessarily. We do pay attention to our SEO, but when I'm looking to write a new blog, I go and I search and I say, okay, like waterfalls, ponds, patios, what are people searching for? And so we have like one that the biggest question that I found was, how much does an outdoor kitchen cost? So I wrote a blog on what goes into an outdoor kitchen, how much does it cost, what material choices are there, what grills are there, can you put an ice maker in it, can you put a sink? Another question we'll get often is, like what kind of plants can I put in my water feature? And we saw that people were searching for that. So we wrote a blog about, hey, you can put these kind of plants in your water feature. We've gotten, like a lot of questions were like, hey, we want to plant grass and it's spring. And it kind of made me upset that people were trying to plant grass in the spring. Everybody knows it's obvious you're not supposed to plant grass in the spring. I don't know why people don't get it through their head. So I wrote a blog about when's the best time to plant grass. See, Zack.
Well, clearly, it's clearly not obvious, right? I mean, but that's interesting that you're saying that. But I think it gets the crux of the thing is you're so knowledgeable in this thing. I think sometimes we have to dummy guide it out and be like, hold on. Of course, everyone knows that, but people don't, right? And so you have to be like, when's the best time to plant grass? What type of grass do I have? What type of this? And so it's really interesting. As I just scrolled through, I don't know if you could see it on the screen, but I was scrolling through part of the site. And what I appreciate is that it's not just a before and after. There's a before and there's an after, but there's all this stuff in between. So I feel like that is a part of kind of the client training as well, so they can kind of grasp what to expect, right? And so one of our friends, Gary Plugi, whatever his last name is, Tim, is showing the process of his house being built. And so it's literally every few days, and you're seeing that construction go up. And so it's not, oh, bought this land, oh, there's the final. You're seeing the whole thing go up, and it's taking, as he's even saying, longer than you would expect. But you're seeing that whole aspect of it, and I think that's important. And more people need to show, I don't know, the behind the scenes stuff so that your clients are expecting it. Well, and no matter what you're doing, right? Like a lot of stuff that's popular from a fast food restaurant now is, how did you make my Big Mac? Right. And so there's these kids that are 15 to 18-year-olds that are like putting together Big Macs at McDonald's and stuff like that. And they're showing how they're being done. What's interesting is some companies are really getting mad at those kids for doing it, and they're banning them, even though they're getting milk. I mean, how hard is it to put 2 pickles, some two all beef patties, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions, whatever? Like, but it's interesting that they would get mad at that instead of just get behind it, like you guys are doing, because it's the same process. I mean, it's cool.
Yeah,
I've been directly involved within our entrepreneurial community for years. And the most common question I get is, Tim, I want to get involved, but I don't know what events I should attend. Well, Startwheel eliminates that pain point, because we consolidate all the events you should attend into a single calendar. Now you'll be in the know and see where to spend your time. Gone is the need to search multiple websites and calendars. Just head to startwheel.org and see for yourself. That's startwheel.org.